Hello world, this is Edward Bevilacqua from the Italian American Club and Ciao Tutti magazine. And today we got lucky and we're sitting here with Neil Scartozzi, the #1 barber in Las Vegas for the past how many years?
46 years.
Wait, you were the best barber when you came here?
I was the best when I came
The
here.
day
too.
you came, you were the
Yeah.
best. Okay, so for
Yeah.
46 years, Neil Scartozzi has done some of the best things, which we're going to get into. But first off, Neil, thank you for taking the time
My pleasure.
to sit down with Ciao Tutti and the Italian American Club. And where we usually start is, what are your Italian roots?
Well, my family came over from Naples
Okay.
in the early days, and
And they landed where?
they
New
landed
York,
in
but
New York, and then they came to Detroit.
immediately?
No, years after.
Okay, so
Years
they're in
after.
Detroit for a while.
Right.
I mean, New York for a while, went to Detroit.
And strangely enough, my father and married sisters.
Your father and
My
you.
father and his brother married sisters.
Wow.
From
Wow.
different families.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
the Scartozzis married the Giordanos.
Okay. So two Scartozzi boys married two Giordano
Yes.
daughters.
Yes.
Girls.
Girls.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. So you guys share a lot of
We
DNA.
share a lot of DNA. Matter of fact, my first cousin is like a double cousin. He's more like a brother to me.
Yeah, right.
Because we
Yeah.
have the same set of grandparents,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
And
It's like your brother.
oh yeah, we even talk alike. We even sound alike.
Does he look like you? Is he a barber?
Yeah, a little bit. He's a little heavier.
Okay. Okay. So you grew up in Detroit?
I grew up in Detroit till I was I don't know, 16. Well, what happened was, I grew up in the life.
Okay. What's that mean?
That means that my father, uncles, cousins were all connected.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay, so I grew up that way.
Got it.
Okay,
And this is in Detroit.
this is in Detroit. So at the age of 16, 17, with fake ID, I'm knocking out people with nightclubs. I'm bouncing them out of the nightclub. Okay.
Uh-huh.
But it was never my calling to do that. I
Because
did
you were a
that
big guy.
because it's all I knew.
Yeah. And you were big,
And I was big,
strong.
yeah, and I did 16 years old. I didn't know what was going on. All I knew was everybody around me was somebody.
Yeah.
So I felt bad about it because I didn't really want to do that. It made me feel bad, but I collected money for them. I did a lot of things and stuff. And then I got drafted.
Ah,
I went to Vietnam
okay. Army.
and I fought in the war.
Okay.
I fought in the war for 3 years.
Hmm.
I was an infantry soldier for 3 years.
Wow. You look kind of young to be
Yeah, I'm
Vietnam
69.
veteran. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. So I take care of myself. No
Yeah.
drugs, no alcohol,
No drinking,
no
wine?
maybe a glass of wine.
Okay.
That's all.
Wow. Okay.
And nothing heavy.
No smoking?
No smoking,
Cigars?
no smoking cigars or anything.
Okay.
Just-
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. And what happened was, when I got drafted, I went in the Army. I said, wow, I can get away from this for a little while and go a different time.
Right.
They cut all my hair off,
Yeah.
and I went to Vietnam for 3 years. And I came home in 1969.
Uh-huh.
I saw a lot of action in Vietnam. I was in infantry.
Okay.
Okay, so I saw death for 3 years.
So the Vietnam movies
The
made sense to you?
Vietnam's made a
Like
lot
Platoon?
of sense. A lot of sense. I didn't agree with going there,
Yeah.
but I went anyway. I didn't announce my citizenship. Became a conscientious
You did your job.
objector. I did my job. Well, when I came back, I was saying to myself, well, do you want to talk about Vietnam?
No.
Okay.
Let's.
We're doing all right?
Let's go.
Okay. So when I got back, I said to myself, well, you know, I'm 19 years old. What the hell am I going to do now? I got a skilled
And you're back
trade.
in Detroit.
I'm back in Detroit.
What's your trade?
Barber.
Oh, you learned? Did you learn that in the Army?
I learned it before. I went to
Okay.
school before.
All right.
I learned it. Got
So
a
you had your
license. So when I came back, of course, I had to renew my license with Michigan State Board. And I got my license, and I started working in this mod joint,
Okay.
this bookie joint,
Okay.
Detroit bookie joint.
And so that's really how, what, like you see in the movie.
Oh yeah.
It's a barber shop in the front.
It gets really good from here on. So now I'm working in this joint. Mob guys everywhere. Nobody got haircuts. They just went in the back room.
Oh, okay.
And played cards.
I see.
They had a table, games back there and stuff. It was a real mob bookie joint.
Got it.
The owner took
So what was
action.
it called?
It was called Tommy G's.
Tommy G's.
And it was a place where everybody, even detectives came there.
Huh.
Everybody came to this place. This was the place.
And where in Detroit was it?
This was on the east side of Detroit.
Is that the Italian section?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the east side of Detroit. So I'm working and I'm meeting all these people. Of course, my family knew half the people that came in there and stuff. So I'm right back where I started.
On which side? Giordano side or both sides?
Both sides.
Okay.
Both sides. So I'm doing exactly what I did before, except I have a barber license now and I'm cutting hair. Where before I was just knocking people out and nightclubs and stuff.
Now, were you cutting these guys' hair? Were they before they played cards?
Oh, yeah.
Or after?
Oh,
what
before.
about shaves?
And shaves, we do
Is
the
that popular?
old-fashioned hot straight razor shaves.
Is that hard?
Well, I went to school for it.
But I mean,
Once
it's
you-
hard. Like if I tried to do it.
Oh
it'd be
yeah,
a
you could
mistake.
never do it. No, you have to have training for that one. You'll cut the hell out of yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're doing that.
So I'm doing that, and one day, this fella came in that had been to Las Vegas, and he brought the RJ, the Review Journal.
Okay. So is this early 70s?
This is
or late
this
60s?
is early 70s, late 60s, early 70s.
Okay. Got it.
So I'm between haircuts now, and between watching these guys gamble.
Right.
So I pick up and I go to the classifieds.
In the Review Journal.
In the Review Journal, I look and I see Barber Stylist one, Las Vegas, MGM Grand Hotel. Okay?
Yeah.
So I jump on the horn and I make a phone call and I ask, can I come out and interview for the job? They said, you live in Las Vegas? I said, no, I live in Detroit, Michigan. I want to come out there and live. I really didn't have intentions
Did you know
at the
anything about
time.
Vegas?
No, I had been out here twice.
Okay.
So with my girlfriends.
Okay.
So they said, sure, you can come out and interview for the job.
But like no promises.
No promises, nothing, just interview.
You want to come out?
Right.
We'll interview.
Well, I was raised very strict.
Okay.
My father.
Strict meaning if somebody owes you
I
money,
couldn't even
they gotta
sit at
pay.
the dinner table without a shirt on.
I see.
I couldn't raise 1 decibel to my mother. I get slapped across the face. So yeah, I grew up just like that. But my father always taught me one thing. He said, first impressions are very meaningful. You can't take them back. They're out there. Always look nice when you present yourself. That always stuck in my mind.
Yeah. How old were you when he said that?
God, I guess growing up, he said it to me.
So as long as you can remember.
As long as I can remember. Hell, at the age of 16 years old, I used to have a tailor come to my house and tailor my
I
shirts.
saw that. I read that.
Yeah, that's all in there. Yeah. So I always went back to it. Even when I
What
went
about
to work,
in the Army?
this is how I worked.
I know that. I've
Or
seen
coat,
pictures.
suit.
What about in the Army? Did you have your uniform tailored?
Oh, no. The Army, I just wanted to do my time and
Okay.
get out because they
Did
drafted
you wear
me.
them? Did you tuck your pants
Oh,
and your
yeah.
boots a certain way?
Boots were always shined
Shine.
as best I could,
Clean
because
clothes.
I was in the jungle.
Yeah.
You know.
So that makes a difference.
It made a big difference.
Okay, so how quickly from the time you got off the phone
Uh-huh.
to you got landed here for that job interview?
I'd say 4 days.
Okay.
So I
And the
bought a
boys
ticket.
back in Detroit said, I got to go.
They says, where you going? I says, I'm going out to Las Vegas. You know, I grew up here. I've had enough. But you don't want to go out there. The FBI's out there. The biggest FBI office is out there. And you're going to get sucked up with those people out there. And I said, no. I just want to go feel this out. Because it was big. I mean, MGM Grand
Oh, yeah,
Hotel,
sure.
Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah, right.
I mean, going from obscurity in this
Yeah.
mod joint
Yeah,
to this.
yeah. If you could do it.
I said, if I could do this, wow. So I get on the plane and I fly. I get to Las Vegas.
What were you thinking? Were you nervous or were you
I was a little bit
excited?
nervous, but I presented myself in a suit and tie.
And so at first you made a good impression.
Oh yeah,
Surprising.
I was impressed.
What is this guy? That suit for
I was sugar sharp. Okay. So I went into this interview and they all looked at me like, gee, And I said, I'm the fellow that called you, Neil Scartozzi from Detroit. Oh yeah, how are you? They were so cordial.
So you're in your mid-20s?
I'm about 20, 21.
Oh, early 20s.
Yeah, early 20s.
So you were confident.
Yeah. It's hard for me to think back that far.
Well,
21, 22, I was somewhere in there.
Early 20s.
Yeah. So I get there, and we sat down and we interviewed. How long are you a barber? I told them.
Did you cut hair when you were in Vietnam?
Well, no, I fought in the jungle.
So they didn't say when you come back to cut
No. I couldn't. I lived in the jungle. So when I get to Las Vegas, I rent a room for $50 a month on Flamingo Road called the Ambassador Inn.
Okay. Flamingo in what?
Flamingo in Paradise.
Okay.
Paradise.
So on the east side.
Yeah. Or PM changes now.
Okay, sure.
So anyway, I get dressed the next day, go for this interview in a suit and tie, walk in, and it was like the Red Sea party. They're looking at this guy coming in all dressed sugar sharp, walking in. So I'm Neil Scartozzi from Detroit. I called you, da. And they all gathered around. They wanted to know what it was like back there, and they wanted to know my whole history and stuff like that. And I told them just like I'm telling you. They said, we're very impressed. He said, I'll tell you what. He says, I want to hire you. That's your cubicle.
Okay.
No matter what. They gave me a beautiful, beautiful wallpapered cubicle with a big mirror like this. And the first thing I did was I frosted a lion head in the mirror because I'm a Leo.
Okay, so it's not Detroit Lions.
No. I love them. So they said, you had the job. So now, I go back, I'm so high now because I'm going back to the...
They didn't even say, cut this guy's hair, let's see what you can do?
No, they just hired me on the spot.
They said, let's see your license.
Because they looked like, yeah. Right. Well,
What
the problem became this. There's no reciprocity in licensing. So my Michigan license wasn't any good out here. I had to wait 6 months before I could write for the barber exam. Well, this all
because this is a small place and they don't do it every day.
Right. Meanwhile, before all of this happened, I got back on the plane and I flew home because I told them I have to sell everything I have and come out here. I'll drive out here from Detroit.
Got it.
So I go home higher than that plane could fly. Because now I got a job at the greatest hotel on the strip in Las Vegas, Nevada, on the strip.
Right.
This just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And so I get the job. I'm going home now, higher than a kite, not on drugs or anything.
Yeah, right.
But so I get home and I sell everything I have. So I had, I had about $10,000 I came out with. Something like that. And what I did was I packed my car.
Yeah.
And I drove south all the way down 40, crossed into Las Vegas. Took me 3 days. I stopped at Springfield, Missouri, Oklahoma City, all the Albuquerque, and all these places. So now I get to Las Vegas. I rent this room at the Ambassador Inn, like I was showing you.
Right.
Okay, I get the Ambassador and I get dressed. I go for this interview. They hire me and everything. I said, I'm sorry, my license. What am I going to do? My license, I can't write for 6 months. They said, we'll still wait for you. We may hire somebody, but as soon as you get your license, that's yours.
Okay.
So I said, wow, this is great. They're going to hold this job for me, and they haven't even seen me cut hair yet. Okay. So I said, wow, man, this is fantastic. So I said, now what in the hell am I going to do for 6 months?
Right.
So I said to myself, I was always fascinated by the game baccarat.
Okay.
So I think I'll go to dealer school.
Huh.
So down here, Michael Dawn and Frank Toady had a dealer school.
Oh, nice.
So I went to dealer school, and every single day after school, I would shoot the Caesar's Palace. And I would stand by the rail because that was the best game in town at the time. And this was paper. This wasn't chips.
Nice.
This
Wow.
was paper. They were dealing paper. So it got to the point where everybody would know me. They say, "Hi, Neil. Hi, Neil. Hi, Neil." You know, because I'm there every day.
And you're watching.
I'm watching like a hawk.
So you go to school to learn, and then you watch.
Right, then I watch. So I'm absorbing everything. I'm watching them call the cards. I'm watching them figure commissions, because every time you went on a backhand, you have to pay 5% commission to the house. She teaches me. So one day, these two gentlemen came up to me, one named Sammy Saggio and a Cuban guy named Roberto. He introduced themselves to me and said, "We see you here all the time. What's going on?" I said, "Well, I'm going to school, Frank Tody's school, Michael Dawn's school. I want to be a baccarat dealer." They said, "Oh, that's cool." Then he asked me if I had a car.
Huh.
And I said, "Yeah, I have a car. Why?" He said, "Well, here's the address to my house. I want you to come to my house." So I went to Sammy Saggio's house.
Okay.
And in his house upstairs, he had a baccarat layout.
Huh.
So they said, "We're going to teach you the game." So Roberto came over there, he came over there, and they taught me how to deal the cards, how to call the commissions, how to look for cheaters, how to do everything. And this is with paper. This isn't with chips.
Yeah.
So I learned the game. Yes.
So why did they do that?
Because they took a liking to it.
Okay.
Because every
Because
time
you were
I even
committed.
went to school in a sport coat.
Mm.
And every time I'd show up, I'm in a sport coat. I don't even own a pair of jeans.
Yeah, I've read that too.
Yeah. So I did that, and I learned the game pretty good. So I graduated from baccarat. And at the
Top
time,
of your class, probably.
top of my class,
Yeah.
at the old Castaways,
Mm.
where the Monte
Okay.
Carlo is now,
Okay.
it was there. And they were having auditions for baccarat dealers. So I went and I said, "Listen," I introduced myself again with a suit and tie. And I introduced myself, and they said to me, "Do you have a tuxedo?" Well, no, first of all, I asked them if I could get an audition. I told them who I was. I just graduated from school. I told them, "If you give me a shot," I said, "I won't disappoint you. But, you know, if you don't like me, if you don't like what I do, if you don't think I can deal, I'll leave. No grudges.
Yeah.
You'll never see me in life again. So just give me the one shot." So they said, "Okay, do you have a tuxedo?" I said, "No." So I had to go rent a tuxedo for my audition.
Okay. Wow. Just for the audition.
Just for the audition.
Okay.
So I rent a tuxedo. I show up. They put me on a table. Now these guys are buying in for $200,000.
Wow.
$150,000, betting 10, 15, 20,000 on hand.
This is at Castle.
This is at the Castleways on hand.
Not at Caesar.
No, this is at the Castleways. I started small.
Yeah.
With paper, no chips.
Mm.
That's very important to know, because back in the old days they used paper, not chips.
Nice.
Chips came in later. So now I pass the audition. I come on. They say, "Wow, you're pretty good. When's you start?" I says, "Immediately." They said, "I'll tell you what. You go get yourself a tuxedo and you come back tomorrow at 8 o'clock at night." I said, "Okay." So now there's another feather in my cap,
Right.
because now I have. Not only do I have a guaranteed job at the MGM Grand Hotel,
Right.
but I got a job dealing baccarat at the Castaways.
Wow.
All because I had initiative. I
Yeah.
showed up nice, looked nice,
Just like
presented myself properly.
perform.
So they figured, I'm going to take a shot on this guy, because we don't see this every day.
Yeah.
So I do this, okay? So
You
I'm
take the
dealing
job.
baccarat from 8 to 4. I'm making about 400, 500 a day.
Wow.
A day back in the 70s. Okay? Because these guys were tipping like mad. At that time, we didn't pool our tips. You know? So I'm making all this money. So 6 months go by, I write for my barber exam. I pass it. So now I got the barber, I got the thing over here, and then I got the baccarat over here. Job. Yeah, so what am I going to do? I said to myself, hey, I'll do both. So from 10 to 6, I cut hair at MGM Grand. I go across the street because I live on Ida and Flamingo, in back of the old Maxim Motel.
Okay.
At a little apartment. And I go over there and I change, put my tuxedo on, and I go to the castles every day.
Wow.
This is till 1975. This is about 3 years.
But not Mondays, right? You didn't go to the barber on Mondays, right? Or were they open on Mondays?
I don't remember actually because that was such a long time.
Yeah, I grew up in California. The barber shops are all closed on Monday.
Most everywhere it was. That's generally the rule.
Okay.
But it's
maybe
been
not
so
here,
many years I don't remember.
Okay.
It isn't the rule now.
Yeah,
here I know that.
Yeah.
So anyway, now I've got my 2 licenses and I'm working 2 jobs. I'm making a lot of money. I bought some land. I bought 5 acres out by Ann Road.
At the end of the universe.
At the end of the universe, with nothing but cactus and yucca trees. Okay? But I invested my money in it. So about 1975, 2 executives came to me from the Riviera Hotel. And they said, we heard about you. We asked around. We opened up this beautiful salon at the Riviera Hotel. And we heard you were a barber and stuff. And you seem to have a good name in town. People know you. They like you and stuff. Would you consider coming over and managing it? Okay. So I looked at him and I said, well, you know what? Thank you very much for the offer, but I got to say no. And I'll give you my reasons why. I told him, I says, yeah, it's true. I have a lot of friends, and I'm a team player, and I do the right thing. Now you got to understand where I came from. Okay, I mean I'm working in mob joints all the mob people all my whole life. Now I come out to the real world because I wanted to change my life. I didn't like what I was doing. I knew if I stayed back there, I'm going to be in jail or dead, one or the other. So I knew I wanted, but I just didn't know what to do until this article came up that this guy brought in.
Right.
If that didn't happen, I don't know where I'd be today.
Wow. So
it all hinged on
twist of fate.
Yeah, twist of fate. But it's a good thing for people that are out there with no skilled trade and stuff to just keep persevering. Don't give up because it'll happen. If you see it, it'll happen. Okay, so I tell these 2 gentlemen from the Riviera, I said, listen, I can't do it. I'm cutting hair over here. The baccarat over here. I'm making all this money. I'm putting in a lot of hours. But I can't give up the money. But I'll tell you what I will do.
Okay.
I told them, if you draw up a lease agreement, an ownership agreement, and let me own the barbershop instead of, being a manager, I'll give up everything and come over to the Riviera as an owner for the first 5 years, and then an option on the next 5 and the next 5. So they took a day and got back to me and said, we talked about it, we're going to do it. We'd like to do it. So now I become an owner, a business owner for nothing.
Yeah.
So a business
and a nice property. Then it was a really good property, right?
Yeah, it was a great property then, man. I mean, it was the best hotel.
But you didn't say, and I get to deal baccarat?
No. I told him, I said, I'll take this.
Put all your energy into your
Put all my energy in this business. Well, little did I know that the Rat Pack used to go to the Riviera. Liberace used to go to the Riviera.
Because you were over at the Castaway.
Yeah.
Working.
Yeah, working and cutting hair at MGM. Right. So I said, I don't know if I can give all this money up and stuff, because I don't know where I'm going. All I know is I'm an owner now.
And Riviera's way down the street.
Yeah, but that wasn't even a concern of mine. The concern of mine was that I don't have to work as hard. Maybe I could start fresh, build a business, bring my clients over to where I'm at.
Right.
And the whole thing. So now I'm a business owner, all because of this article.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
And you had the initiative.
And I had the initiative to follow up.
And get your license.
So now I'm finding out all these movie stars, because Riviera catered to movie stars. Mitzi Gaynor, Tom, everybody was there. Okay. So I started cutting Milton Berle, red buttons, Telly Savalas. I shaved his head for Kojak.
Wow.
He lived at the Riviera.
Huh.
So what they would do is he would, I cut his hair Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. He'd take the red eye to New York, film Kojak, put it in the can, come home, and that was it for like 5 years.
Wow.
So now I'm doing all these movie stars. George Burns, I cleaned his hair pieces for you. The Gatlin brothers, Tommy Smothers, Dick Smothers. I'm cutting all these people's hair. I'm making as much or more money doing this.
Because they pay you a lot?
Because they paid me a lot.
Really?
Milton Berle used to give me $100 back then.
Wow.
That was in
He
the early
didn't have a
70s.
lot of hair, right?
No, but
that makes it even harder,
the
right?
idea was the early 70s. $100 in the early 70s,
Right.
like $1,000
Yeah,
today.
sure.
So I got all these people, and I built this reputation of doing celebrities. Eventually, I acquired Dean Martin. I acquired Liberace, Tom Selleck. I started doing MC Hammer.
Okay.
All these people are starting to come to me now. Now I'm getting this reputation as stylist to the stars.
Right.
Okay. That's why in your intro, when you first came in, I was going to stop you and want to introduce Neil Scartozzi, stylist to the stars. Whatever, you can change that, edit that if you want. Whatever you want to do. All of this stuff isn't here, by the way. Okay. So now I'm cutting hair, I'm doing all this. I get married when I was 26 to a girl that was a cocktail waitress that I met at the MGM when I was working. Okay. So Playgirl magazine approached me, and they said, we're very interested in you, because back then I was buffed out, I was young, looking good, and the whole thing. So I said, well, I have an idea to go out to Red Rock Canyon, not Red Rock, but Valley Fire,
Okay.
and shoot.
That's in Utah, right?
Yeah, and shoot, and have a girl on the rocks with beautiful long silky hair in the background. And they're telling me that's pretty extravagant. We can only pay you $8,000. I said, well, listen, I'll tell you what, you pay me, and I'll find a girl, and I'll pay her out of my end. So I was cutting this baccarat shield. Back then they had shields. Do you know what a shield is?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I had her name was Michelle, a little French girl, and I was cutting her hair at MGM. She said, you got to go upstairs and meet this girl named Sylvia. She's a cocktail waitress, but she's beautiful, and this would be perfect for this thing you want to do. So now I'm going through the slot machines trying to find this Sylvia, and I finally find her. And I said to myself, well, she's okay, but I'm dating sharper girls than that right now. I mean, I could have went on my own, and I'd have to go through all this stuff.
Right.
So I meet her. Well, we start dating. Okay. So we go in together on a house out of Red Rock. Okay. She had a 5-year-old son.
Wow.
That I inherited. I raised him. So he's my son, not biologically,
right,
but he's my son.
Right.
So now I'm married at 26. Got this girl, the whole thing.
What happened with the shoot?
Huh?
What happened with the Playgirl shoot?
Oh, we did the shoot.
Okay.
We did the shoot and everything. I don't know if I still have that magazine. I think I still have that at home. But anyway, that went fine. But consequently enough, the girl that I thought would do it, Sylvia, my wife, ended up backing out of it. I had to find somebody else. But we still did the shoot. Okay. So I said to her when I first met her, one day next week we'll get together, and you're gonna have to piece all this together because we're going back a long time.
Yeah. And
I said to her, I says, one day next week we'll get together and have dinner, and I'll tell you what I'm looking for in this pictorial. She says, no, if we don't go out tonight, we're not going to go out. I'm very busy. So I break a date to go out with this girl. Well, when I picked her up, she came out in this beautiful mint green dress, big boobs, beautiful blondish red hair. Whoa, I said, this ain't the girl I met earlier. She just fucking It was like Michael in The Godfather when he met his wife.
Yeah.
Bells and whistles went off, and I said, "Oh, God!" I dropped everybody. When I was this girl, I was totally enamored.
And so, how long did it take from that to marriage?
I'm guessing around 6-7 months.
Okay.
Something like that. I mean, I felt totally in love with this woman. So now I have a wife. I'm raising a son. I have a business that I didn't have before. Right. Making some nice money, doing all that. Well, I sent her to school. My ex-wife to Denver to barber college. I figured we'll have a family business.
Sure.
So she got her license, came back. She started cutting hair with me.
Okay.
So eventually, I took her over to MGM where I used to work, got her a job over there with them.
Get some experience.
To get some experience and stuff. And I said, you can come back with me and later on, whatever. I said, okay. So we had that going. We did all that. So, and I'm acquiring all these movie stars and all these, and regular people too. It wasn't all movie stars, regular people too. But I'm making more money cutting hair, doing this and meeting these fabulous people, making these great connections and everything, right? Than I did before working twice as hard. But I didn't know that was going to happen.
Right.
I just took a shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
You followed the opportunity.
I followed the opportunity, took it, saw it, and worked it, and did it. Now, along the way, it wasn't all peaches and cream. There were times when I had to struggle a little bit doing this. There were hard times. I got hooked on some drugs, and I beat that. And I stopped doing all that. I never had an alcohol problem. I don't know what it was. I was going through something in my head. I couldn't figure out what the hell it was, but I know.
Success?
Yeah, maybe it came too soon, too fast. Never.
Everything seemed easy.
Yeah, and I didn't know how to handle it because going back to where I came from and what I did, you know, to what I am and what I'm doing now. So we fast forward 40 years, 5 different owners, and I still maintain the ownership at the Riviera for all those years. So I accumulated customers from Texas, Oklahoma.
It's like whenever they come in.
Whenever they come in, they come to me. We do shaves and facials.
Now, let me ask you a question about that.
Yeah.
When you have one of these movie stars, when they get down and sit in your chair, do they turn themselves over to you and you're the boss?
Oh yeah.
They're not arguing with you?
Oh no. Well, if I may say, there were some that were really incorrigible. Milton Berle was
like no matter what you did, it wasn't good enough or what?
Yeah. He would just
he had hair right there.
He would call.
Lopsided.
He would call, and he used to take the slate spray because he never wanted to put a chemical on his hair, and he'd spray it from a can, and it was hard like this table. It took me 20 minutes to shampoo that stuff out of his head.
Wow.
And he would always call ahead of time. He would want to know the temperature of the salon, the temperature of the what do you have on the radio? It had to be classical. He had to have all this stuff. So he'd come down, I'd do all of this, and that took me an hour.
Okay. Now, he didn't say, I'm coming down now, kick anybody out.
No.
Okay.
He didn't do anything like that.
Okay.
He was just concerned
set up the time,
about
but everything, the whole environment.
You're right. He just wanted this atmosphere around him when he did it.
Now, did he care if anybody else was in there?
No, I don't believe he did.
So it wasn't like...
That doesn't stick out in my mind as anything that he did. But he was very particular when I cut his hair. Not too much here, not too much there. Be careful in the back. I don't want to sit it, you know, like, okay.
Like you forget every time?
Yeah.
Like you would go through it every time?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I used to cut his hair, and he would never let me blow it out. He had to take the blower and blow it out himself and everything. So all I really did was wash his hair and cut it. That was it.
Huh.
Then at the end, he'd give me $100. Just, well, that was pretty easy. I didn't do very much, you know. And then Red Buttons used to come in. Red Buttons tells me, he says, I've been all over the world, man. I've had my hair cut in Malaysia, Singapore. He said, you're the classiest barber I ever met. I said, well, thank you. He says, I never seen nobody cut hair in a suit or sport coat.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you, man. See, I wanted this reputation as being well-dressed, well-spoken.
Right. Yeah.
So Eventually, I inherited another type of clientele.
Okay.
Tony Spilatro,
Okay. How was
Frank
he?
Rosenthal, all these guys from Chicago had heard about it.
Okay. How was Spilatro?
Very nice to me. He was a gentleman
Polite.
to me, very
Turned
polite.
himself over, got in the chair, and you were the boss.
Yes,
You
yes.
the driver.
Took it over. He'd watch every move I made. But
Like worried about the razor.
yeah, and he'd always come in. He says, "How you doing? You all right? Anybody bothering you?" You know, I said, "No, Tony, everything's fine. Everything okay." And so one day,
Did he ever say, who do you know in Detroit?
he knew all my guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I told him I'm from Detroit. Oh, do you know this guy? Do you know that guy? Do you know this guy? Yeah, it's my uncle. I did it, whatever.
So you're safe.
So I'm safe,
Yeah.
you know. Then he says to me, "I'm cutting his hair for a good year and a half now. But every time I'd go out, I'd see him. And he'd come up to me and we'd hug, shake hands and everything. A kiss on the cheek and, you know, the whole thing." And I said, "Okay, that's cool." He says, let me ask you a question." He says, "I go out, I see you everywhere. We say hi and that's nice and everything. But when I ask you to go out with my guys, our guys, I mean the Chicago guys, you always say no. Why is that?" I says, "Listen, Tony, no disrespect. Okay?
Now
I don't
you're
wanna-
getting a little bit.
I don't
You got
wanna
to
be-
choose your words carefully.
Yeah." I says, "I don't want to be famous." Okay. He says, "What do you mean?" I said, "Listen, Tony, I go out with you. My picture gets taken. My phones get tapped. I get a tail to and from work. FBI's walking past my barbershop just because I know you.
Yeah.
You know. Now that doesn't mean I don't want you to stop coming in,
Right.
because I cherish your business and everything. I just want you to know why I always say no to you. But you know, if I see you out, we'll share a drink, maybe, or something like that. You know, and that's fine." He says, "I understand." You know. Then he comes another time and he tells me, he says, "You know, these son of a guns, man, he didn't use guns. These son of a guns, he says, you know, they got people in the windows watching me talk, so they can lip sync, so they can see what I'm talking about." I says, "Well, there's an easy remedy for that." He says, "Looks like it's what?" I said, "The next time you're in public, chew a toothpick." But when you're talking with Puerto Rico, chew a toothpick, right? He looks like that was such an ingenious idea. Right?
So that's how we do it in Detroit.
That's how you do it. So he said, "Well, that's, you know, okay, that's cool, that's pretty cool. But don't you know they used it in Goodfellas, the movie Goodfellas?"
I kind of thought that they did.
They want him and Frankie, the guy that played Marino, Goodfellas. Frankie Vincent. They're walking out the Gold Rush. He had the jewelry store called the Gold Rush.
Yeah.
And they're walking out, and they're talking to who's that guy? Right? And they're talking. Well, they use that in the movie, in the damn movie.
Wow. That's
Okay. So, anyway, we just kept this, we just had this relationship where I didn't want to do business with him. I didn't want to be a part of his hole in the wall gang. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. I just wanted to cut his hair, see him out and everything, because I'd been through all that already.
Yeah, right.
So I just wanted a nice, clean, respectable, legal.
Well, and that seems like where we started with why you want to get out of Detroit.
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't want to go down that path.
That's right, because I'd be dead or in jail. One or the other. So then, from here, Frank Rosenthal starts swimming. Now I'm doing Rosenthal, yellow suits, pink suits, pink hats with the feather around them. You know,
Yeah.
you know. So we're talking and everything. Didn't say 6 words through the whole interview. Just very arrogant, very stuck up, very. So I cut his hair, and they would leave. Then came Herbie Goodson.
But he kept coming back.
They all kept coming back.
It wasn't like,
No,
so
but they loved my atmosphere. My salon, marble floors, brass rails, mirrors on every wall.
So you feel special when you
It was
walk in.
very classy. When you walked in, it was very classy. You know you weren't getting a $10. So they loved that.
You got what you paid for.
Plus, I looked the part.
Yeah.
And they felt comfortable because I did good work.
How many other people were in the salon?
Well, I had hired my ex-wife back. She's my ex now. But at the time I
So
hired
there
her.
were just two of you?
There were just the two of us.
Okay.
We
Now, did
took
she
care
cut
of-
hair for people too?
She cut hair for people. She did. She did a lot of people too. I mean, we both had a thriving business, really, really good for the hotel.
Yeah.
And these big high rollers would come in and drop at the time. See, what happened when in baccarat and the gaming industry, it went from paper to chips. Okay. The IRS wanted them to do that because at times they used to wash the money. They'd take it and wash it in a soapy solution, and then they put it in, press it, so the bills all came back crisp. You could snap them down.
Right.
A lot of times payments were made until the bills that you couldn't be paid. So 200s were being paid out. Should have been one. So they came in with chips where you could see a chip off. They converted everything into chips. Now I had to go back to school for a couple months to learn how to cut checks because I couldn't cut checks.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we did all that. Again now. And I brought her in, and she's working with me and everything. Well, a guy by the name of Dan Manila used to own the Riviera. He sold. Then another guy came in from Toledo, I forget his name. He sold. At the time, the Chicago and Milwaukee owners had a piece of the Riviera. Okay.
So when these guys sell it, they sell it for more than they bought it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So it wasn't going down?
It wasn't going down. And a lot of times they'd sell it because our city fathers down here were knowing that they were skimming and taking money and stuff. So they kind of forced them out.
Yeah.
So it became legal, more legal. So eventually, Miss Schulen Rickles, after about, I think he was the fifth owner, bought it. He is Zadora's.
Yeah. Did he ever get his hair cut?
Oh yeah, he used to cut in his son's hair, everything. And Pia, they all used to come in. Because my salon was a real place to meet, place to be seen. So I got this reputation for doing this stuff.
Well, wait, so the rib, go ahead. Yeah.
Mr. Rickles used to bring in these chartered gambling junkies. So guys from Detroit, Cleveland, New York would all fly in, and they charter a plane, and then they bring their gamblers in, they gamble. So it was a gambling hotel back then. And it stayed that way for quite a while. And then Mr. Rickles sold it to a guy named Bill Westerman that used to work for him. So now it's another owner.
Right.
But he kept the junkets. So eventually he got his health went, and he sold it to some people that didn't want gambling anymore. They wanted junkets. So I lost all my gamblers that used to come. A lot of them still filtered over. They stayed at other hotels and still came. So I still kept some of them, but eventually, as the Riviera got older and older,
and newer places, better places started coming.
And I was cutting hair. I always maintained the same look.
Yes, right.
Okay. So now, as time's gone by, fast forward 40 years, 4 decades, still wearing sport coats. I'm still looking good when I'm